The ABC's war on Christians is becoming hysterical as well as factually inaccurate. It seems suspicious, as I said earlier this week, that the ABC is stepping up its war on Christianity just as Cardinal George Pell is about to face court over allegations of historic sexual offences. And you would be right if you also thought the ABC was in fact at war against the religion that is actually a civilising influence. I should point out I am agnostic. Last night, the ABC's 7:30 programme made this obviously false claim, in fact an absurdly false claim.
We talk about women in Islam, but statistically it's evangelical Christian men who attend church sporadically who are the most likely to assault their wives.
That claim was based on the work of ABC presenter Juliet Baird, who made the same claim earlier on ABC Radio.
The men most likely of any men, not religious or non-religious, to assault their wives are evangelical men who go to church sporadically.
So why are these evangelical Christians supposedly most likely to punch their wives? Well, according to Baird, the ABC presenter, it's because the Bible teaches women to submit to their husbands, and because so many churches are led by men.
The church calls it male headship, that a woman must submit to her husband as set out in the scriptures, that headship is more about control than biblical truth, and is even used as a licence for violence.
Now, to anyone remotely familiar with the Christian Bible, none of this makes sense. If a man really does follow the teachings of Christ, he will know that Christ preached non-violence. He will know Christ famously stopped the stoning of a woman for adultery. And to anyone remotely familiar with the links between religion and violence, again, the ABC's claims do not make sense. After all, the Christian Bible preaches non-violence, but the Muslim Quran, that actually tells men they can beat their disobedient wives. And in fact, the Hizb ut-Tahrir video this year demonstrated the kindest way that Muslim men could do that beating. And finally, to anyone remotely familiar with Australia, the ABC's claims are a sick joke. It is not evangelical families that suffer from the worst domestic violence, it is Aboriginal families. Aboriginal women are at least 32 times more likely to be put in hospital by their violent partners. So I was so surprised, so amazed by these ABC claims that I did what ABC reporters clearly did not. I checked the source for Julia Baird's claim that evangelical Christians who go to church sporadically are the worst wife beaters. And I found that Baird gave just one source, a single source, Stephen Tracy, a theology professor at a seminary in Arizona. But then when I checked Tracy's essay and the sources he gave, I instead found this, a survey which concluded that religious involvement, specifically attendance at a Christian church, actually protected women from domestic violence. In other words, the more Christian that men were, the more that they went to church, the less likely they were to beat their wives. That is exactly the opposite impression you'd have got from the ABC 7:30 last night. It gets worse. Even more amazingly, that single source that Baird gave for her claim, this Professor Tracy, he actually quoted in that essay another survey from our New Zealand neighbours, a survey that Baird ignored, which may not surprise you, because this is what it showed. 2.2% of men who went to church regularly were violent to their wives. Men who only sometimes went to church were nearly 3 times more likely to beat their wives, 6.2% in all. And men who never went to church, they were the worst by far, 11.2% likely to beat their wives. That is the real story. The more Christian that men are, the more often they go to those churches run by men, the less likely they are to hit their wives. Christianity really does save women in particular. Why didn't the ABC report that? Why did it instead attack Christianity yet again? But most importantly, for us non-Christians, why did it attack the faith that truly does make people more civil?